Now what is the solution? Solution is, okay, I know that I am confident in this question. Then I also realize that I am not that much confident in this question. So what should I do? Instead of writing 5 pages here, I must reduce it to 4 pages. Because the difference of 4 and 3 is somehow affordable.
Yes.
And then I try to take it to 3. Then there will be a little balance. I need to sacrifice my favorite question. Okay?
Exactly.
But we don't do this. At that time, we are very much confident and we write, and we tell the first question that we know. And this is the mistake we always do.
Sir, don't you think the number of pages depend upon the type of a question that examiner given? Somehow the 5 pages that I wrote is about something examiner want me to explain something, and the 2 pages that I wrote is about something that you want to ask me on the point to the point. So I want to do that, no?
Actually, when a question paper setter sets a question and he awards 25 marks, he needs complete and, relevant answers to that level. Your point is valid, but then in such conditions, we have difference of marks, because sometimes we have questions of 20 marks and sometimes we have questions of 10 marks. Now, while attempting the question of 20 marks and attempting the question of 10 marks, our approach will be different. But when numbers are equal, when all questions carry equal marks, for example, then then you must be proportionate and then you must be equal in your approach. But because your paper setter is a very smart person, he knows. He will never give you a question that requires answer of 2 pages with 25 marks and a question that requires 5 pages containing the same 25 marks. If he is doing this, he is a nonsense paper setter. And we have nonsense paper setters as well. So I don't disagree with your opinion, but the problem is that while it comes for CSS examination, while it comes for PMS, they are very smart question setters. And they give equal numbers. Equal numbers means they require equal amount of answers. Okay? When they feel that this question needs a short answer, they cut its number as well. They don't award you number while you write only 5 lines and you expect that 10 numbers will be given. Not at all. But this for example, in mathematics, the level of difficulty is set differently. So this doesn't apply in mathematics. This applies to descriptive questions. Okay? Clear?
Okay, sir.
So this is what I need to say, that academic writing is very much formal. Academic writing is very much
Structured.
Academic writing is very much prescriptive. In academic writing, you need to be very much careful regarding the accuracy of language. You must follow all the rules of grammar. You must follow all the rules of syntax. Because if there are grammatical mistakes and if there are, language blunders, you are not going to be tolerated. Your performance will really suffer, or you will be considered as a poor performer if your answers, if your writing is not prescriptive, if it does not follow the rules of grammar. Clear? Then academic writing is objective. In academic writing, most of the time we need to be objective. We do not, deliberately or at a length give our own opinion.
Exactly.
I think that's why, I think so it is, because I think like this. Your opinion do count, but most of the time it must be objective. How world looks at the things. This is known as objectivity. How generally things are, viewed as. Until and unless you are given a chance to give your personal opinion. If you are asked to give your personal opinion, then you can be subjective. Otherwise, our natural approach in academic writing is that of being an objective writer. It is analytical because you analyze things. You analyze things. It is argumentative because you give your arguments in it. Whatever you write, you are supposed to give your arguments in it. It must be persuasive because through arguments you are trying to win sympathy, you are trying to pursue your reader, you are trying to remind your checker that I know all these things and whatever I have written, that holds the weight. it contains the strengths and the arguments that I have made are valid. So it is very thoughtful process. It is persuasive. It is accurate, and finally it has academic purpose. It has academic purpose because what do we mean by academic purpose? Because it is to be used in universities, in schools, in colleges, in certain areas where your answer or where your writing matters, and it is taken as a serious piece of work. Because academic writing is always serious. Academic writing is always serious. And then in academic writing, we need to be to the point. It is to the point writing. You cannot, most of the time students do this, they exaggerate, they beat about bush to, complete the pages. Exactly. But the pure academic writing, the good academic writing, because we have the good academic writing and poor academic writing. But it is not our concern. This is just simply for your information that academic writing is to the point, it is relevant, it is without humor and flowery language. In academic writing, you cannot create humor. In academic writing, you must avoid satire even. And academic writing try to avoid use of figurative languages. The students of English often do this because they are taught the figures of speech, so they also incorporate figurative language in it. But in pure academic writing, this figurative language is not that much liked. So if you don't incorporate figurative language in your academic writing, it works. But if you are adding it, there is no harm in figurative language, because in figures of speech we will read something. Right now I don't want to discuss it in detail because we haven't studied or we haven't discussed figurative language. But in academic writing, if you are not using figurative language, it works. It is not the requirement of writing. Okay? So these are certain characteristics of academic writing, and I hope since you all have gone through this academic writing, you know it very well. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that I need to elaborate it further or explain it more?
No, sir. Clear.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
So we should move ahead. So with this academic writing, Adnan,
Yes.
can you change that?
Sir, should we write wrong answers or short for papers?
When you need to check that how much weightage a question carries. If a question carries a weightage of 5 marks, your answer should be up to that level. If the question carries the weightage of 20 marks, then you need to write long answers. So it depends upon your calculation. Because at that time you are the master to decide. The instructions are general. The instructions may say that all questions carry equal marks, or this question carries particular this number of marks and that number of marks. For example, if you have a question carrying 20 marks and you have a question carrying 5 marks, you are writing 4 pages for 25 number question and 4 pages for 5 number question. So you are wasting your energy and wasting your potential. So this is what we need to learn. And this cannot be done in a single attempt. We need to be very much conscious regarding this. Most of the time I have observed, because I have been teaching in a university since last 10 years and I have experience of teaching for more than 20 years. I have seen students acting reckless in exams. Because either it is because of the burden of examination, or it is because they are afraid of the test. So they forget their rationality and they become irrational while they are attempting their papers. So attempting your papers in academic writing, you need to be very much careful. Read your question paper in detail. Try to read the question carefully, minutely. For example, you are a student of Pakistan study. The question is about 14 points of Qaid-e-Azam. You had rotted and you had crammed 14 points. Now, without looking at the question, you start writing 14 points because you have learned this. This is what we often do. This is our general approach. But the question was, what is relevance of 14 points of Pakistan in today's constitution? My goodness, this question doesn't ask you to write 14 points.
Totally changed.
But as we saw 14 points, we started writing 14 points. Because we knew.
We do this.
So this is what we need to avoid. Whenever, this is my brotherly suggestion to you, this is my suggestion as a senior to you, whenever you are trying to attempt any paper, read question paper once, twice, thrice, and then mark what question demands. Because sometimes in a single question we have 2 or 3 questions.
Exactly.
But we focus only on one part of question.
I do
So
the
this
same
is
thing.
we need to understand. So now, with comparison to academic writing, we have creative writing. We have
Creative writing.
writing. And I have made this, this box and these things with comparison to each other. There are some things that are mixed, where these 2 points meet as well. Now the first point here is that creative writing is informal. It doesn't mean that all creative writing are every time informal.
No, sir.
Creative writing can be formal as well.
As well.
But if you become informal in creative writing, it's okay. It doesn't mean, so this is what I want to correct. It is not necessarily informal all the time. Or you must keep in mind that sir has written that creative writing is informal, so we need to be informal every time. No. Creative writing can be informal. Why I have written informal here? Because I was making comparison between creative writing and academic writing. Academic writing is purely formal, but creative writing can be informal.
Sometimes.
If you are formal in creative writing, it works. Sometimes most of writers are formal in their approach in creative writing, but when it is informal, it creates more trust. If you will keep yourself formal every time in a creative writing, people will, feel boredom in your reading. They will feel as if they are reading answers. They will feel as if they are reading newspaper article. People will feel as if they are reading an essay. Okay? So in creative writing, we need to suspend these things. So creative writing can be informal. It can be subjective. It can be subjective. But it doesn't mean that
All the
time it is only subjective.
No, sir.
If you keep objectivity in creative writing, it is also possible.
Possible and
But it is most of the time subjective. It is descriptive. The academic writing was relevant into the point, but creative writing is
descriptive.
descriptive. You describe things in detail. For example, you are writing something. You are writing a short story per se. Short story involves the visit of your character to Lincoln Corner. Your character comes to visit Lincoln Corner. Now, you can write 2 pages on Lincoln Corner, and that has nothing to do with your story. You have
Nothing.
to do in your plot about Lincoln Corner, but simply as your character came here to meet any person or any other character here, you can write 2 pages on the description of Lincoln Corner. That Lincoln Corner was such a wonderful place, it was full of different objects, it was well decorated, it was beautifully set, it gave an aura as if we are not in Kharpur, as if we are in a corner of a US. The seating arrangement is wonderful, they have colorful seats, they have screens, they have newspaper. Means entire 2 pages can be written in the description of one single particular place. You are sitting in Lincoln Corner, that's why I quoted this example. Otherwise, for example, you can write 3 pages about a hotel. You can write 5 pages about a bus stop. You can write, entire 10 pages length for a road from Mariamtop to Latif University. And you can write this.
Yes, sir.
While you will be focusing on all these things. And one thing, try to connect yesterday's idea in today's talk as well, because yesterday and today are connected with each other.
Exactly.
Don't make me remind you all these things, because your first principle of creative writing is observation. You need to be very much observant. You need to be very carefully, observe the things. And in observation, all 5 senses are required to work.
Yes, sir.
And if all your 5 senses work properly, your observation will be a strong observation, and then you must incorporate all these things in your writing. So it is descriptive and it is narrative. Narrative means creative writing is pursued in the style of narration, as if you are telling a story. As if you are telling a story. For example, in creative writing, we can say, once upon a time we used to live in Karachi, and Karachi in those days used to be a beautiful city of lights. It was a city of peace where the roads were full of cars and the horns used to create a lot of noise. And as a villager, we used to enjoy this. Means this approach of narration is a load